The Armenian community lives largely in the diaspora, and those who live in the diaspora are concerned about those who are living in the motherland. It's one Armenian community globally. The leadership in this community needs to be always inclusive in its attitude, its approach, and choice of missions. The fact that we have Armenians of professional backgrounds with great capabilities in fundraising, in communication, in technology, it means that the leadership takes very different forms for each person, but leaders of the community need to embrace all of those backgrounds and rely on them to use their judgment and this forward-looking vision that they can muster. It's important to keep moving forward for the Armenian community.
The Daughters of Vartan is a sister organization of the Knights of Vartan. It started in 1933, and there are 20 chapters around the nation of women committed to building friendship and leadership and supporting Armenian Christian values and heritage around the world. I've been involved for about 12 years as a member. I've also was the founding Diruhi, or chair of the San Diego chapter. We're from San Diego, California, but of course much of my family comes from New Jersey, so I have a very special place in my heart for this area. The chapters nationwide pursue a number of charitable projects, support their local community and churches and students, and then get together once a year nationally for a convocation, a national convention held in a different city every year, where they pursue new national initiatives and charities. So we're proud, my husband and I, to be involved in the Knights and Daughters of Vartan, and I believe that sometimes their work is not publicized, but the goal is to be a light and to be a leader in the community without tooting our own horns too much. So, but we're committed to helping our people in any way we can, our Armenian people.
The historical facts are well known to Armenians. It was very significant that this week, on April 23rd, that the Prime Minister of Turkey, Erdogan, used the word condolences expressed to the grandchildren of the victims. I believe it was the first time that the grandchildren, the current youthful generation, was acknowledged as the embodiment of those victims. And I think that it opened a door for an additional debate that will carry us into the future, rather than regarding the victims as people of a past generation who are not to be heard from again because 100 years have passed. Now the grandchildren, I am one, a grandchild of a genocide survivor. The grandchildren possess the spirit of the survivors and the victims, and they possess the moral authority to bring to the Turkish government the demand for accountability of the crimes from the Ottoman Turkey.
Right. Obviously, there's been a lot of effort over the years to get the genocide recognized, and I think there will be a lot of effort to culminate in a bigger year next year. Whether or not the worldwide recognition happens that we all have sought for so long, I believe that it still is an opportunity to shine our light to the world, to provide the information and to give the exposure to the issue in perhaps new ways, perhaps new events, perhaps a different set of activities around the world that can shed light in a new way on the information that we all know, but there are still so many in the world who don't know. And I think it's still important to get the story told. And I know that there have been a number of initiatives. Our organizations are in contact with all of the other Armenian organizations to put on something that's cohesive, West Coast, East Coast, and internationally, so that the message gets across in a unified manner, that the story is still there and still needs to be told and acknowledged.
Steve Kradjian. I'm the grandson of Nazaret Shamavonian, who several of his siblings were murdered in the genocide, and he immigrated to the United States in 1910. I would edit this. He immigrated in 1915.
No problem.
I was raised in Los Angeles, the son of a chemist at General Foods and a homemaker, my mother and father. I've been trained in chemistry. My background's in chemistry, and I'm a pharmaceutical research and development professional with a background in regulatory affairs now. It means that I operate at the intersection of technology, business and government in the pharmaceutical industry. Communication is an important tool apart from the underlying science in my profession. As an Armenian, I've been passionately involved in the Armenian community for more than 30 years. In the Knights of Vartan, as a member for 12 years, it has been a central involvement for me. I was the founder of the San Diego chapter of Knights of Vartan in 2001. And over the past 12 years have found that as we approach the centennial of the Armenian genocide, the message that we give to people of the Armenian community globally and also to the worldwide community needs to be not that we're only interested in establishing a correct historical record, but we're also, as a community, we're interested in demonstrating to the world that a wrong that was perpetrated cannot be forgotten or forgiven until there is reconciliation. But that does not keep the Armenian community from moving forward. So we have to have a view forward and a view backward in order to reconcile our past, but also to command our future.
I was born and raised in San Diego. I graduated from Stanford University in English. I'm a playwright and a freelance writer in my spare time. My husband Steve and I have been married for 14 years. We live in San Diego, and we have two beautiful girls, Ani and Madi. My father was an English professor in San Diego and grew up here in New Jersey for many years, George Kradjian, and my mother, Dikrani Kradjian, also lived here for many years. And then they married and moved to San Diego and have lived there ever since. So I'm a San Diego girl, but also with New Jersey roots.
I was touched very significantly by the murder of Hrant Dink. This was relatively recent. I was inspired before that occurred, but the way in which his murder occurred appeared to me to be a very highly visible demonstration that violence and hatred against Armenian people is still here. It's among us. It's still resulting in death, and even is seeking to silence the voice of the Armenian people. This was an important accelerator in my passion as we approach the centennial of the Armenian genocide. But my original passion for supporting the Armenian people in every way that I can comes from my father, Kradjian, who was the one who taught me Armenian history as a child, and who also inspired in me the understanding that the Armenian community, while small, is thoughtful, caring, creative, innovative, and powerful. And he's the one who gave me the inspiration to pursue the path I have.
My desire in my term, my 2-year term as the national chair or Avak Diruhi, is to strengthen the members themselves and encourage them to continue pursuing the projects they're passionate about and not necessarily get burned out or have them feel like it's an obligation to be involved, but to refresh the members so that they can go out in their communities and do the great things that they do. Nationally, we do have a number of charities. This year we adopted the Kalfayan Orphanage in Istanbul for girls, the Merhuis organization in Armenia for transitional housing and training for girls, as well as the Women's Support Center in Yerevan for abused women. Next year we plan to adopt some other charities as well, including the Fuller Center, Heifer International, and some others who have specific 100th anniversary genocide campaigns to support the homeland. So I'm passionate really about helping Armenian women build who they are, their leadership ability, and their ability to make an impact in their community. So I feel actually my biggest desires for relationship building and leadership building within the Daughters of Vartan, so that our members can go out into the world and do what they're passionate about.
Sure. Well, like any group, there are multiple viewpoints within a group, within a demographic group. There are young people today, and by young people I mean students, young professionals, some of whom, while being Armenian, may ask, what does it matter to be Armenian? I'm an American. I live here. I live and speak and adopt the American lifestyle. Well, that's really wonderful. My message is that you're here in part because your Armenian forefathers protected you and brought you into an Armenian community in which you grew. And today you're enjoying the safety and fruits of an upbringing by Armenian family. That will be important for the Armenian community to perpetuate if you choose to make that a secondary priority or even not a priority. Then you turn your back on a population of your parents to whom you owe the safety and security of your current life. I believe that the sense of obligation, while maybe not attractive, is also one which makes us who we are and gives us the right and the opportunity to move forward as Armenians.
You know, students and young friends around the world, you have a voice, you have gifts, you have interests and abilities that we all want to learn, we all want to benefit from. We want you to be heard. We want your voice, your story, your background to be heard. We want your gifts and your interests to come forward. So we encourage you to get involved in your Armenian community, in your local church, or an organization like the Daughters of Vartan, because our community needs you, our world needs you. You have a special, you're here for a reason, and we want to experience that with you, with your special gifts and talents. To live life in a vacuum outside of your own community is hard to do. You can do it, but I think your life will be much more full and productive when you plug into the Armenian community that wants to support you and partner with you and work with you on the things that interest you.